always, see if anybody gets on. I think I have the right camera orientation this time. I know last time I was sideways, and a couple of you noted that I was like standing on the wall, but this way I'm upright, so I think we're good to go. A little technical difficulties again. I'm not the best with the camera. I'm going to try to move it around a little bit to show all the ingredients and stuff, but just bear with me. So today we're doing sushi. I did a little Facebook poll voting yesterday, and I was pretty psyched to see if people want to do sushi because I love sushi. I think the other two options were tacos and pizza, so I'll keep those on the roster for future times. But yeah, sushi. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about it first. I think a lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people kind of have that mixed emotion about sushi is difficult to make at home, or sushi is just something you go out to eat, or it's just too difficult. So I did think of that once, but actually I was forced to do it with a friend of mine. He wanted to do it, and I originally thought it was going to be too much of a hassle, but soon learned it was really easy. I mean, the biggest thing with sushi is that's going to take the most time is just chopping the vegetables and the rice. I mean, if you really studied Japanese culture, I haven't, but I looked a little bit into it. There's some really cool little Netflix documentaries about it. But if you've looked at sushi culture at all, Japanese culture at all, sushi is like, really, really disciplined. They take it to a really intense level, so the rice has to be cooked just right. A lot of sushi chefs spend 10 years just cooking rice before they even get to cook fish, or cut the fish rather. So I don't take it to that extreme by any means, so don't get afraid and immediately leave this little live video. But yeah, I just like to have fun. I mean, I read a really good sushi rice recipe. It's not any more difficult than cooking regular rice. So you just make it and it's seasoned a little bit. So sushi is just kind of, the definition of sushi is the rice. So a lot of people think it's fish or sushi, fish and rice combination, but the main preparation of sushi, a mixed sushi, is rice. So without getting too much into it, let me show you what the different ingredients that I chose today. Some of the stuff I had in the refrigerator. It's great to use up stuff. Some of the stuff I just grabbed, and the good thing about sushi too is you don't really need a lot of ingredients because you cut them kind of smaller, and the main ingredient is rice. So obviously if you want to do some fish too, so it's great to, on a dinner for a budget. I spent $20 today with the fish and the rice and all the kind of vegetables, and we're going to throw a little sushi dinner together later, Veronica and I. And I don't know, maybe go out or something. So anyway, enough of me jabbering. So let's see if I can elegantly turn the camera without too much shake. See what's going on here. All right, so over in the corner, you see we've got some rice. I cooked that up earlier. Again, just seasoned rice. I'm gonna put up all the recipes, link to the recipes afterwards, so don't worry about that. I made a little bit of chipotle aioli kind of thing. That's kind of gonna be cool to kind of drizzle it. I didn't really have a recipe for the sushi, so we're just gonna kind of improvise as we go. Okay, so starting up in the corner, I've got some, see if I can lock this camera in place. I've got avocado, cucumber, pickled ginger, mango. Mango's kind of fun to do on sushi. I did that a couple times. I did scallions, wasabi. This is ume paste. Ume paste is a Japanese kind of pickled, preserved plum kind of thing. So it's got a cool flavor. A lot of the Japanese steakhouses have this dressing called ume scallion dressing. So that's probably where some people might be familiar with it. I got carrots. I got some carrot tops to kind of play with for some garnish. I got some limes to play with for a garnish. I've got a purple radish over in the corner. I've got jalapeno, sesame seeds, and these are radish sprouts. So these have been kind of my new discovery this season that I really love to play with. They're just cool to have garnish and salad. And I thought they'd make a cool addition to the sushi as well. So I'm gonna make a couple of rolls and for you guys to see. I'll talk a little bit towards it. If you have any questions, put them in the posts. If I can get to the questions, I know as I'm doing, I'll try. I know it's fun with these live videos to kind of interact with who's ever on. I'll do my best. Also, in the back here, I've got butternut squash and some tatsoi. So I was gonna do a soup later on, but I'll post the recipe for that in another video. So, without further ado, let's get rolling. So the equipment that I choose that kind of basic for sushi is a sushi mat. Now you don't need one necessarily. You could kind of do it with plastic wrap and then maybe a towel, but I'll show you how the technique kind of goes. So it's really handy to have these basically just so it kind of gets straight and they're nice and even rolled. I have some nori sheets. Again, all these Asian ingredients are available pretty much at any Asian section of the grocery store. This is important. I have a bowl of just regular cold water. As I work with my hands with the rice, sushi is a very hands-on kind of thing. It's really fun. So as I work with the rice in my hands, I get my hands a little wet so the rice doesn't stick to it as much, and I kind of do that to spread it out. You'll see. Something that I thought that was handy that I would mention is these little mandolins, especially for chopping the cucumbers and carrots. This is, I think, was like 30 bucks. So, you know, if you don't have the greatest of knife skills, it's kind of handy to have one of these. It makes it go by a little faster. So, without further ado, let's jump into this. Let me just see if I got the angle right. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm not sideways. That's check. All right, so sushi. Okay, so like I said, I usually use one of these sushi mats. You could just use a sheet of plastic wrap on the counter and then use like a kitchen towel at the end if you don't have a mat. So let's start with a basic one. A basic one that I've always, you kind of see all the time is kind of what they call the maki rolls. So again, I get a little piece of nori. I usually just cut a whole sheet in half. I'll get my hands a little wet. Get a nice ball of rice. This might be a little too much, so you kind of just adjust as you go. Again, we're just improvising a little bit here today too. But I just wanted to show you guys how easy it really was to make sushi. So just kind of spreading this out a little bit. What I like to do is I like to leave a little border on all the edges. So when you go to roll it, the kind of like rolling a burrito in a sense that if you pack it too tight to the edges, the stuff is just come exploding out the edges. So I'm gonna try to refrain from that. So for this one, let's do cucumber. Just like, you know, a layer, a line of cucumbers right in the middle there, usually what I do. We'll do carrots. And how about some pickled ginger for a little flavor there. Throw that right on top. This is going to be the basic one. So, all right, so that looks pretty good. The rice could be a little more even, but it's homemade sushi. It's meant to be a little rustic, a little bit freeform. So this is where the mat comes into play. Again, this could be a heavy kitchen towel or something. Basically what I'm doing, let's see if I got the right angle, is just rolling it up and around and making sure the vegetables are kind of tucked in there. And then just kind of making sure nice and even. Now, whenever I make sushi, the first couple rolls inevitably are going to be a little lopsided. And then as you go, you know how it goes. As you get going, the ones you do towards the end are come out to be the best. So anyway, we'll see how that one comes out when we cut into it. So, okay, let's see, do I have any comments? Fish is king, Nathan. Yes, fish is awesome. In fact, I used to be a fishmonger for 3 years. So part of why I like really teaching people about fish, sushi, and other kinds of preparations is to help get the fear out of cooking fish at home. Everybody's got a kind of this fear of fish cooking at home because A, they don't know how to cook it, B, they mix their house smell. There's all kinds of different excuses, but fish is such a great versatile protein, really healthy, it can be lean. So kind of the biggest thing about buying fish is really knowing your fishmonger. You know, you really have to have a sense of where you're buying it from. You know, grocery store, chain grocery stores are not always the best places to buy fish. I mean, unless they do a great program. I know places like Whole Foods and other grocery stores are doing better fish programs. But, you know, if you have a specialty store or a fishmonger, or a specialty fish store even, you know, really go in there and get to know the guy a little bit. Get to know the guy behind the counter. Ask him what's in fresh today or yesterday, what he recommends for sushi, if that's what you're doing it with. And, you know, get a feel for the fish. You know, the fish should look nice and moist. It shouldn't have any smell. It should look really fresh. And if it doesn't look fresh, it looks off color. If it looks, you know, not as moist or dried up, just don't buy it. I don't care if you got your heart set on tuna or whatever. If it doesn't look fresh, then I wouldn't buy it. That's just me, but that's kind of my 2 cents about fish and buying fish. So anyway, yeah, part of this series I'll talk more about fish. Okay, back to the sushi making, enough of me rambling. All right, so this one, let's see. I'm gonna do one that I like to do, kind of like an inside out roll. So first of all, I'll take the sheet of nori. Got my hands wet already, so the rice isn't too sticky, 2 of them. Get a nice ball going. Nathan, no plans for a book yet. This is my second live video, so I'll keep you posted, man. What's going on, Jordan? Hey, Kristen. Thanks for joining in, guys. Friday afternoon, early evening. All right, so for the reverse roll, I'm going to spread the rice out. Again, you don't want to make it too thick. The idea is just to kind of spread it so it's a thin layer rather than really clumps of rice. It'll take a little bit of practice, as anything does, but it's fun. If you have the time, you know, it's fun to do. Also with sushi, it's a great party thing. You know, I love to do like a sushi party with friends every once in a while. Like I'll get the rice ready, I'll chop all the vegetables, then have some buds over, and then, you know, we can just kind of, you know, they can make a roll on their own and pick and choose what they want to put in it. And, you know, at the end we can kind of joke about whose rolls look the nicer when we display them. It also could be fun for kids, you know, kids' birthday party, or just, you know, a fun little after school dinner kind of idea. All right, so for this one, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this, see if I still remember how to do this. I'm gonna turn it over very carefully. No, it wasn't very carefully, but get the idea. And I'm gonna put a little more rice on the outside, so this is gonna be a thick one. But these are the ones like you see at the menu, like the inside out rolls. Have more stuff on the middle that are bigger. Like I said, this is not going to be perfect, and by all means is not going to be fancy, high-end Japanese sushi like some people may get out and about. But it's fun, and if cooking's not fun, then what's the point, in my opinion? So you should have fun. All right, so let's see. Let's do some avocado. I love avocado. I have some tuna too I bought. Let me go grab that real quick. Sushi tuna. Look at that. The color. I got that today. It was caught, I think it was brought in yesterday. I'm not sure when the fish was caught, but pretty fresh. I was pretty excited about it. So, do a couple of strips of tuna, and then I just cut these into like longish cubes kind of thing. They don't have to be perfect. Let's see, let's do a little wasabi. So I like to grab a little wasabi and just put a little line in there, give it a little kick. Why don't we try some mango with this too? I think that might be good. And this is going to be a big one, so let's just load this one up. How about some sprouts, the radish sprouts? So with the wasabi, and these guys are a little spicy too, this is going to be like a spicy roll. We'll call this the spicy roll, spicy tuna roll. And what else? That's good. So, keeping that same kind of technique, we're going to roll it up and around like a burrito. Nathan asked, how do they make it spicy? They usually do a sauce. I don't know if it's quite like this. This is like a chipotle, but some kind of like pepper sauce they either mix with the tuna. I've seen it a couple of different ways. You know, like I said, I just put some wasabi, some tuna. Maybe I'll drizzle some of this on the top. So it's kind of, you know, everybody's got a different way of spicy tuna recipe, I think. This is going to be a fat one. Hopefully I'll be able to cut it. The great thing about the mat is that it's made of bamboo. So you can just it kind of helps to shape it and keep it all even. So it's not this like lopsided cone lump kind of thing. But if that's what you're going for, that's okay too. See how it did. Oh, not too bad. So that's that. I think I'm going to even top this off with a little bit of sesame seed. This is kind of like a ground sesame seasoning that you can find at most Asian food aisles in the grocery store. Alright, so I've got a couple rolls here. I'm not going to get too much into it because I don't want to make this a super long video. Those are the basic rolls. Also, some things I love to do are things called, you know, free-form sushi. So if y'all have seen like the little, like the sashimi boats thing, so I can do one of those real quick. Basically, you know, you're just getting a little ball of rice. Take your tuna or whatever fish you're gonna use, and then I've seen people do it super fast, and I don't have the best technique, but you know, it's kind of like that. Another one I really love to do is I learned from looking at a book actually. So you take a piece of plastic wrap and you make kind of a ball. So you take, let's see how's the camera angle's looking. This guy over here. I did clean my countertop, so don't worry about that. I know I'm just kind of making a mess of my counter. Alright, so this one I learned is take like maybe a piece of tuna. We'll do a piece of mango, kind of flatter pieces. And then you take a little ball of rice. And not quite golf ball size, maybe more like ping pong ball size, because again, you want to think about how somebody's going to eat it and not just, you know, have to use use a fork and knife. So kind of what I do is just wrap it up to this ball and pinch it. So you kind of see that? See, you got like a kind of round sushi ball kind of thing. And I'll let that sit a little bit so it'll just kind of like the fish and vegetable adhere to the rice. I'll make one more. Anybody got any questions, comments, suggestions? Anybody else made sushi in here before? Let's just do another one of those. I like that. Let's see. Just kind of, wrap it like a little sushi ball there. All right. So let's go into one of these and let's see what they look like. I've got a little plate. We've got a little fish board over here too. I don't know if you guys see this little fish cutting board I got for a present a couple years ago. It's kind of appropriate. Told you I like fish. So with the knife, I like to, get it a little wet. Usually I'll run it under cold water, but I'll just kind of lightly dip it in this bowl of water. It just helps so it doesn't, the sushi doesn't stick to the knife. And it helps to have it sharp too. So I hope this knife is sharp. Yeah, it's pretty good. See how he did. Not too bad. Could have been a little more centered, but this is just homemade sushi. It's supposed to look like it's homemade. Now I'm really interested to see how this one came out. This big monster. This is live TV. If I make a mistake, I hope you guys will forgive me. But I'm not too worried about it. Not too bad. Kind of got the little mosaic there. So I'll kind of put that there. I have my little, I think they're called nigiri rolls. That's what it is. Put that over here so you guys can see it. Gotta get the camera there so we can see the angle here. All right, so I'll get the little sushi balls that I made. Little mango tuna. Put one of those right over there. Of course, you gotta do the pickled ginger. The wasabi. So I just got some store-bought wasabi paste in a tube there. And since this was the spicy tuna roll, see if we can add a little bit of sauce to the top of it. Gotta give it a little color. And why not? A pinch of these little radish sprouts in the corner to give it a little bit of something. So, let's see if I can present it that way. Homemade sushi. Hope I didn't make it look too difficult. I know doing the camera thing and cooking, it's not always easy. Hi, Aunt Dot. Yeah, I'm sorry. I try to make it look easier, but I'm gonna put the recipes up. Let me see. I'm gonna put the recipes up on the comments, so you guys check it out. I'm even going to do a little giveaway, so I thought this would be fun for my little Friday live videos. If you guys do not have a sushi mat, I have one here. And for somebody that wants to give it a try and post a picture or even a video, if you're feeling courageous, I will send them a sushi mat. So the first one, or we can have kind of a judging thing. But if you don't have one, or even if you have one, you can add one to your collection and invite a friend over and have a little sushi party. So, thanks again, guys, for joining in. I'm really having a blast so far with these little cooking videos. I'm really getting a lot out of what you guys have to say for it and some comments and feedback. So, for those of you who are on live video, thanks so much for joining. For those of you who catch the video later on, I want to add a comment or two. I'll do my best to answer them all. And yeah, stay tuned for next week, see what we're going to be cooking up. Have a great weekend.